agency which makes sure we have electricity says the system won't be able to handle demand, and we probably need a new giant power line.
Well, Dan Tilkin is here with why those fighting this project say the plan is flawed, Dan?
And we're at a critical moment in this project. The Bonneville Power Administration is promising in the immediate weeks, perhaps days, they'll release the controversial blueprint for the first new high-voltage power line on the west side of the Cascades in 40 years. If built, some people would pay a heavy price.
Well, this is a bridge that my parents put in.
Ray Richards is taking us along the banks of the East Fork of the Lewis River in Clark County.
This is about where the power lines would cross if they build it.
He's talking about the spot where towers 15 stories tall and power lines will likely span the river, right next to the cabin that's been in Richards' family since the 60s. Breaks your heart?
Doesn't make me happy, that's for sure.
Richards is the chairman of A Better Way for BPA. For 7 years, the group's been fighting the Bonneville Power Administration's plans to plow through their properties. The agency's preferred route runs 80 miles from Castle Rock to Troutdale, and it would look like this, a treeless path, but the towers would be the biggest BPA uses. Landowners like Richards want to know why BPA doesn't use this existing path through Vancouver, near I-5.
It's already developed. It already goes over streams and rivers. It already goes by houses. You already own it. Why not just use that?
Much of that right-of-way has never been cleared, so there would still be the impacts from cutting trees and so on. And really, one of the main reasons we didn't pick the western alternative was the impact to homes and people. The western alternative has about 3,000 homes within 500 feet of the proposed line. The central alternative only comes within 500 feet of about 300 homes.
Plus, putting distance between the old and new lines protects the system from disasters. The new line construction was already supposed to be started, but so many people objected, the project was slowed by more study.
People have had their land tied up.
Cheryl Brantley is one of the founding members of A Better Way for BPA and is one of those that's lived in limbo.
I've talked to widows that lost their husband during this project, and they don't know what to do. They can't sell their home because the project's looming over their heads.
BPA originally predicted the new line would be needed by next year because the existing transmission system's capacity would likely be reached. But this year, the BPA's own documents show forecasted load growth is lower. Plus, equipment upgrades mean the urgency of the project is less. So now the prediction? This line will be needed by spring 2021.
So 2016 and 2021, that's not even close. That's way off.
Well, it highlights the dynamic nature of the system in that generators come and go with recessions, industry ramps up or ramps down. So we don't do one study, determine a need for a project, and then go away and ignore the system. Again, every year we revisit that.
BPA's opponents suspect the driving force pushing the power line comes from beyond our borders. California just announced 50% of its electricity must come from green energy sources by 2030. Richards and his allies believe that means green electricity from Canada, carried on the new line on its way south.
We get the burden and none of the benefit.
They're convinced that this is part of a plan to get electricity from British Columbia to California. Are they right?
I understand their comment. That would be a benefit of the project and some income to the agency, but if that's all there were, we would not build it and would not even be studying it because that wouldn't be justification for this size or cost of project. The main reason we're proposing this is to keep the lights on for the people of this region.
Locally?
Yes.
BPA said the project would cost $459 million. Now BPA tells me the project will cost more than $700 million, an increase of over 50%. Well, that's if the line is built. One of the options is to do nothing. But that doesn't seem likely because BPA studies say not building the new line means brownouts or blackouts in the future. Ray Richards and hundreds of other property owners are hoping the no-build option makes the most sense.
Seems like it's uphill, though.
Yeah, I'd say it's uphill, but there are some encouraging signs.
So BPA is supposed to release its blueprint for this. It's called the Environmental Impact Study. They promise December, January at the latest. Then the head of BPA gets that report, goes through it, 6,500 pages, and issues a ruling about whether to build that line and where.
Wow. 6,500 pages. So how long do you think it would take for somebody to go through that?
The head of the project there, he told me he's guessing end of summer.
Okay.
End of this coming summer.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Very eye-opening.
Affects
It
a
is.
lot of people.
Yeah, it does.
Well, do you have a story?